So you were just so frustrated with people making up these stories about the shroud that it convinced you had to make a website to tell your truth, tell what you were involved with it.
Yeah, not so much my opinions, but here's the evidence that our team collected based on direct physical examination of the claw. Anybody who's not had that opportunity um, is working from secondhand information at best. And people have said, well, you are a bunch of religious fanatics. I said, wait a minute, that's not true. I said, think about this. So I'm holding this instrument in my hand and I'm pointing it at this piece of cloth. And I pull the trigger and it collects the data that it's designed to collect. Do you think the instrument cares if I'm a Christian or a Jew or a pagan, whatever? No. And we published our raw data. We published our data so that everyone has access to every bit of it. Unlike the radiocarbon dating guys who, for 27 years, refused to release their raw data until a French researcher, who's also a law student, went to England and used the Freedom of Information Act and forced the British Museum to finally release the raw data. They were the caretakers and the overseers of the 3 radiocarbon labs. And it took 27 years for that data to be released. That's pretty suspicious just to begin with. Why wouldn't you release the raw data? Well, eventually, after the raw data was released, a bunch of scientists got together, including guys who studied the statistical analysis that was done, and they determined that they were averaging things. They were excluding certain readings that would not have allowed them to reach 95% certainty, which they claimed. And then, of course, there's the money trail. So the gentleman at the British Museum, who was the head of research for the British Museum, very high position, Dr. Michael Tyke, we didn't find out until just the last 4 or 5 years that he was already in communication with the Oxford lab to take a permanent chair at Oxford. So right off the bat, now he's acting as the overseer of the 3 labs, and he's clandestinely trying to get a position at Oxford. That's a conflict of interest just to begin with. But wait, the story gets worse. So before their paper gets published in Nature, which is the very prestigious journal, somebody leaks the information out and it gets into the press and the headlines are Shroud is a fake. And as soon as those data were leaked that they were going to claim the Shroud's a fake, Oxford received £1 million sterling, which is about $2.5 million. And Michael Tyke retired or resigned from the British Museum and took a permanent chair at Oxford with some of that money. How about that?
That is strange.
So, yeah, it makes you say, wait a minute. The last thing in the world you would think would be the case would be that money would have something to do with it. But wait, it's not over yet. They realized right away, I think long before they came out with their result, that if they claimed the shroud was authentic, they were going to get skewered by the scientific community. But I think they also knew that if they said it was a fake, they were going to be heroes. Not only that, they could use the shroud to promote AMS, accelerator mass spectrometry, radiocarbon dating, and it's now a multi-million-dollar business. They used the shroud to promote their technology, and they won that battle. People talk about radiocarbon dating as if it were as foolproof as DNA analysis, which it's not.